Just fake out.
Spencer.
Whoa.
Hi, Spencer.
What's up, Kasey?
We're here with Molly.
I know we got here way too early today.
We did, yeah. Spencer and I both independently had the time wrong for our recording time today, so we were both here plenty early, and then it was like 3:01. We're like, oh, Molly hasn't showed up yet.
We're like, where? I was like, is she late?
I went to I went to look at my calendar to like make
never.
sure that you had accepted the invite. I was like, I'm pretty sure she accepted the invite, and then I saw on my calendar that it was actually 3:30. So
Well,
Spencer and I had a cute little coffee date. We walked over to the district and got some dopios.
Just straight. Now we're fueled up. We're ready to go.
Yeah, now our
Right.
brains are wired up on the espresso. So
We're recording.
we are, and we're here today, episode 15, I think. We haven't recorded in a
Dude,
couple
we're
weeks,
supposed to know
so
this. If we don't,
are
we're in
supposed to know this.
trouble.
I'm pretty sure last time Cody was like, hey, just so you guys know,
Yes.
next time you record, it's episode 14. Because every episode will be like, it's episode 8, 9? Like, we don't know. And so he even said on the like last call, he's like, this is where you guys are at. I think that was 14. So I'm pretty sure this is 15.
And don't worry, Molly. We are real humans. We're, not robots. So
Yeah. Yeah. We can
We're
be
professionals.
We can be wrong too
Professionals.
every once in a while. But it's rooted in Idaho. Real people, real stories, real Idaho.
exactly.
Episode 15, and we're here with Molly Leadbetter of Meriwether Cider.
Nice.
Molly is not originally a Boisean, but she has been in Boise long enough to claim it, I believe.
Yeah, longer than anywhere else.
But before it was a popular place to be moving to.
Well, I mean, how
true.
many years do you have to be here to be considered local? I've had different things.
I feel like it's a percentage of your life.
Oh, that's-
more
that's a
than
good-
time, right?
Like
because
what-
like if you're 60 and you live here for 10 years, that's like
Yeah.
a pretty small amount of your life. But I moved here when I was 17.
I think
so-
that's a good take,
and then-
actually. It's a
yeah,
percentage of
so
your
I've
life.
almost been here for 20 years.
Okay, so
Which
you've
seem-
more
which
time here
feels-
than...
Than literally anywhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I think that makes you a local.
Yeah, thank you.
So,
I
yeah,
think so
17
too.
years.
Thank you.
It feels like
we
it.
don't need his approval.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. Who needs my approval? But Molly's originally from Grand Junction, Colorado, and
Right.
moved to the Treasure Valley to attend College of Idaho, and then has stuck around and is currently the managing owner of Meriwether Cider, who Meriwether is celebrating 10 years this summer.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. That's a big
It's pretty crazy.
milestone. We're 1 year behind you at the still.
Yeah.
10 years for us will be next year. And you guys are, we'll get into it in the podcast, but celebrating 10 at the Pen on June 13th.
Yep.
So big 10-year party, open to the public, celebrating 10 years of Meriwether Cider, yeah?
Yeah, free to attend. No tickets. Just come and have a good time.
hang
It's supposed
out.
to be just a celebration. There'll be music, food, activities. I just bought a bunch of yard games, so
Nice.
we'll have flash tattoos on death row, which is exciting.
Nice.
I don't know.
But yeah, excited to have Molly on the podcast and talk all things cider, entrepreneurship, College of Idaho,
Yeah.
yard games. I just saw a cool yard game on Instagram the other
I'm
day.
obsessed.
Um,
It's like
it
my
was
favorite thing to do.
It was a
Like,
it was like cornhole, but
Okay.
there was 3 little hoops, and so instead of like
So
tossing
like
bags,
skee ball cornhole.
kind of, but like it's like you have
But
like
you
a
do get
little
for points,
basketball hoop,
right?
yeah, and you shoot
Oh, you
the basketball
shoot.
into the board looks like a cornhole board, but then it
Oh.
has 3 holes.
and it's flat.
No, it's at an angle.
Oh, it's an angle.
Just
Okay.
like a cornhole
Okay.
board.
Okay.
And so you shoot the basket. You know, I feel like yard games these days are just like iterations of other yard games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the one that's like spike ball, but like you
Yeah.
have a paddle
Oh.
and like a ball with like a paddle?
I thought it
and
was
then-
with a hand. So there's another one
Well,
with
that's
a
what
paddle.
spike ball
Well,
is.
spike balls,
Yeah.
hands.
Spike
yeah,
balls with the hands.
which
So
is
that's what I'm saying. This
So
is like
fun.
a very
I love
so
spike
fun.
ball.
Spike ball's great. But there's like a variation of spike ball
Huh.
where you just you use like a
paddles.
paddle. So it's like a paddle sport or like
Yeah.
a,
I feel like
a
the
racket.
boot-
Like
I
a
feel like
racket
it'd go
sport,
so fast.
probably.
It seems like crazy.
So anyway,
The best.
that's neither here nor there, really.
Thanks,
But Molly,
Kasey.
we are excited to have you on the podcast today, and thanks for joining us. And we'll have a fun conversation. So,
Totally.
I guess let's start it off by just telling us about Meriwether. How did you and your family get into that business? And correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys were the 32nd cider house in the U.S. Is that right?
No, I'm not sure how many cideries there were when we opened. When we opened the cider house downtown 2.5 years later, we were one of the very first cider house concepts. So that's like a place that has a lot of different ciders from a lot of different people. So like, you know, you go to like a tap house or whatever and they have a bunch of beer. We were the first one that was like fully dedicated to cider in Idaho, as well as like there aren't that many in the country. I still don't think there's that many in the country, but it was pretty low. But we were technically the second cidery to open in Boise. The other one has since closed, but yeah, so my parents and I and my sister, we started it together 10 years ago. We were all kind of at this like juncture in our lives where we could do something different. So my parents were both professors, and so they were looking at retiring. My sister and I were both wildland firefighters, so we were just like seasonal workers. So we are all like able to like come together and do something different, and cider was what we decided on. My dad was a home cider maker, so he was making like great stuff. And so we knew we had a good product. We just had to figure out the business part of it, which none of us knew how to do, but you know.
But
He figured it out.
Made it 10 years.
Yeah, Google
Look at
helps.
that.
Yeah.
Google, yeah, YouTube.
Now would be ChatGPT.
I know. That would have been so nice.
Which is real nice, yeah.
We used a lot of like local like SCORE and the small business
administration.
center. Yeah. And that was like super, super helpful. And then also just like the alcohol industry in Idaho is so lovely. You know, like we had.
She's saying that with sarcasm.
No,
I'm
not.
Like the laws and
No,
stuff.
No. Like
regulations,
the producers
okay, I
themselves.
see what you're
Like
saying,
we
I
would
see what
reach
you're saying.
out like and be like, oh my gosh, what do we do here? Like I reached out to Boise Brewing because they were like so established after I think they were like 2.5 years older than us. So I was like, wow, you've got it down. And like their sales reps like took me around and like showed me all of the places that they like went to sell kegs and like introduced me to everybody. And so everybody was just like so helpful and like no gatekeeping. And so that helped a lot. We were able to, you know, get a lot of information from the other producers, which is really awesome. I don't think that happens in all places.
That's what was really a testament to Boise, right?
Yeah.
How cool of a place it is, not just to live, but in the business community, right?
100%.
There's really no like gatekeepers in the business community, which is cool.
I can't imagine running a business without that. Like that I would hate it so much. Like I'm just not a revenge plot kind of gal.
Yeah.
Yeah, there really is no gatekeepers.
No.
And everybody is really helpul to one another.
Incredible.
Which we found the same thing of just like, you know, I don't know if I don't think I've told this on the podcast, but similarly when we started the still, Brad Walker at Boise Fry Company was like our, you know, like he was so helpful to us and
awesome.
just was like willing to share all this information and just kind of help us really understand the landscape and have the proper expectations going into things and stuff like that. So shout out to Brad. He'd be a great podcast guest. So, you know, it's interesting that you guys came at it from like your dad's making home cider and he has a really good product. And then you're like, how do we actually like make a business out of this?
Yeah. Yeah. How do we do this? It still kind of feels like make believe, honestly.
Well, what made you not like stay in Colorado, right? Because did you get the concept in Colorado?
No.
Okay.
So my sister and I both went to the College of Idaho, and then go Yope. It's the best. And then when we graduated, so she was a year ahead of me. So we both knew that we wanted to stay here. We were like, oh no, it's cooler here. This is definitely where we want to stay. And my parents would like visit us every time they had, you know, summer vacation or spring break or whatever. They'd always come up here. And so I think partly Meriwether was my mom's attempt to convince my dad to move here.
Yeah.
So they moved about a year before Meriwether started. They moved here, and then we all. We didn't want to leave. We weren't going to leave, and so my parents had to follow us here.
Yeah. Was there any meaning behind the name at all?
Yeah.
You guys picked it?
Yeah. So my middle name is Meriwether.
Okay.
So Molly Meriwether.
Nice.
And my mom's great aunt got really into genealogy before she was born. Before my mom was born. And found out that they are distantly related to Meriwether Lewis.
Oh, wow.
And so when my mom was born, they gave her the middle name Meriwether. And so when I was born, I got the name Meriwether. And we decided it was a really good name for a company because it's kind of a collision of place and family. So he was the first explorer to cross the Continental Divide into Idaho. And then also we have a family connection. So it seemed like a really nice
into genealogy
coming
before it
together.
was like that must have been
so hard.
imagine like trying to get into
Can you
genealogy
imagine? In like the 40s?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, insane.
Like just
Go in the library.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
even, yeah, like,
The Mormons, I think they have a really
They have, like, a
big
good-
trove of genealogy.
Yeah.
interesting.
I really want to get in the Vatican. How do we do that? I want to go in those archives.
I don't, that's on you, buddy. I don't know. I don't know how we do that. I won't be participating.
Dang it.
But I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Seems like a hard thing.
Yeah. So Meriwether, like, how did you guys start out? Like, did you start with multiple different types of cider? Was there like a core product and then you expanded over the year? Like, and then also like cider, I wouldn't imagine has like the same popularity as beer, maybe, especially when you guys first started. So like, what was that like initial startup process like of educating people, but also like
Yeah.
figuring out what's our product line?
Yeah. It certainly is not as big as beer. It is one of it when we started, it was one of the fastest growing alcohol industries in the country. And it is still seeing growth today, whereas the craft beer market is seeing a lot of precipitous like decline. So we're still on the up and up because we are still tiny. I mean, just compared to beer. Oh gosh, I just went to CiderCon this like in February, so you'd think I would.
Nice. Where was that at?
So fun. Providence, Rhode Island this
Oh,
year.
really?
Yeah,
Wow.
it changes every year. It kind of flip flops between the East Coast and the West Coast.
That's kind of cool. So when you go there, you can collaborate with other ones, right? Bring them
Oh.
into your location too. potentially?
Not really.
Yeah.
Alcohol really, when you're talking about importing it into the state,
Yeah.
it's a very conscious decision, right? Because
Yeah.
you can't just like if your product is a koozie, you can send it wherever you want because
Yep.
you have a sales license, right? Alcohol, you have to have a different sales permit for every single state you are in. You also
Oh,
have to have a
gotcha.
distributor in that state because
Oh wow.
when you're sending your alcohol out, you can't just like send it to like a random. You can't send it to the stores, right? You have to send it to someone that's also going to put it out. So you have to get a distributor, you have to get a license, you have to get usually if you
The
get
lovely
sales
three-tiered
people.
system. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're really sucked into you really have to like make the decision what states you want to be in.
Yeah.
And sadly, Idaho is not one people pick a ton just because of the population size we have, right?
Yeah.
Like if you can pick Oregon or Washington or Colorado, there's just a ton more people there.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of a struggle at the cider house. I find myself, buying the exact same brands over and over again because people are not. You really have to. You have to be a certain size to decide to come to Idaho, really. So I can't just be like, oh my gosh, your stuff's so great. You should send me a keg.
Yeah.
Because that's just like, you can't do it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there's all this like licensing between
Yeah.
being able to like get products that are not
That's interesting.
imported into
Yeah.
Idaho.
But CiderCon was probably cool just to collaborate with people and just see what's
It's
going on
great.
in the industry, right?
It's so great. It's so fun. It's really nice because like there's just not that many cider people in Idaho.
Yeah.
There's only like 4 of us. And so it's just so fun to be in a room full of people that get it, like that are like beer's similar to cider, wine's similar to cider, but it's not cider, right? It's not the same industry. So when you get into this room and you're like, yeah, people are like have the same problems and they have the same like wins and they have all these ideas and you're like, oh my gosh, other people love cider. And I love bringing my staff to cider conferences because it's like, look, see, I'm not lying. Like people do really care about cider. Just because there are no other cider people in Boise does not mean that there aren't like cider people that are doing the exact same thing. And like, so it's really nice for just
Is part of
seeing
the
people.
is part of the continued upward trajectory of cider due to like perceived health, like gluten? Like was that like
I
a
don't-
big part of cider's like ascension? Is like people are looking for something that's kind of like beer but that doesn't
I
have like gluten
think
or
when we started, it certainly was a piece of it. I think it really helped kind of like budget over. I don't think that that's a huge mover now.
okay.
I think people are finally appreciating. Well, yeah, I think gluten being reducing gluten or whatever has become much less of a fad than it was 10 years ago.
Sure.
But I think also finally people are drinking cider for cider's sake. It's not, oh, I'm drinking cider because I don't like beer, or I'm drinking cider because I can't have gluten, or I'm drinking cider because, all these like becauses instead of just like,
I love cider.
I'm drinking cider because it's good.
Yeah.
Because it's worth drinking. It's a craft product that is delicious, and it's something that I'm just choosing, not because of like a negative factor, but just because it deserves to be
Not as like an alternative
appreciated.
choice, but as like
exactly.
a primary choice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is awesome. That's what I've really been like gunning for. Because when we first started, we kind of said like the gluten thing, but I don't put it in any of my marketing anymore. I'm like, that's sure. Like, so is wine, but you don't see people like, no wineries are being like, oh, you know what, why you should drink this? It's because it doesn't have gluten. Like, they're just not doing it because they don't need it. And I would like cider to move to that point. It's maybe not there yet, but I think it's moving towards there.
Yeah.
And you said your dad was instrumental in having good recipes. Is the original one that you guys have is the one that he came up with, or how's that work?
So we opened with I think 5 ciders.
Okay.
And we have 3 of them still on tap. So the Foothill Semi-Dry, the Ginger Root, and the Hop Shot are 3
Ginger root's probably my favorite. Yeah.
That's a good one. It's a pain in the butt to make. Blackberry Boom was one of the ones we started with, and there were literal riots when we stopped making it.
We used to make ice cream with that one.
In like 2018, 2021. I don't know when it was, but that like heat dome over the Pacific Northwest. Do you remember when that happened? And it was like 116 in Portland or something crazy. Yeah. So it killed all the blackberry plants. So blackberry concentrate got to be like $170 a gallon.
It wasn't economical to make it anymore. Yeah.
So we were like, okay, we got to cut that. So we started making the blackcurrant crush instead. So we have the blackcurrant crush on, which was like the alternative to the blackberry, which we opened with, which I think honestly is better. But the people that remember blackberry are like, no, it's the only one I ever loved.
People hate change.
They do. And then Strong Arm Semi-Sweet was the other one we opened with, and we just discontinued that one this year, which was actually kind of, I know, it was kind of hard on me, but.
Well, why'd you have to discontinue it?
Its sales were just not there. I wanted it to be so badly. I thought it was like the most traditional cider. Like it was appley and it was crisp and it was like my baby. Yeah. But I think cider's not quite to the point where we can say something is semi-sweet and people not think it's like candy.
Yeah.
So it was too slow moving. We also started making the Uncharted, which is our Imperial, which is it's actually a semi-dry, but it's on like the sweeter end of semi-dry. So they were kind of a similar set, so we had to like pick between, and it's just our SKU. We have a lot of SKUs.
Yeah. Are those categorizations of like dry, semi-dry, semi-sweet? Are those industry standardized? Like, is it based on sugar content?
Yep.
Is it okay? So
it's based on bricks.
Okay.
So it goes dry, semi-sweet, sweet, are the four categories, and then in there are the bricks levels.
What are bricks?
Bricks are sugar. It's just a unit of sugar.
Okay.
And when I was studying for my test, I would have known what those were, but I don't know anymore. Not what bricks are, but what the designations of each of the categories.
Oh, so you took a test to get certified in making cider?
Not making cider, just being a cider expert. So I am the only certified Pommelier in the state of Idaho.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So like sommelier for wine or a cicerone for beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How many of those are there in the country?
When I got certified, there were 96 in the world. And
Oh, wow.
I want to say right now, that was in 2023 or 24. I think now there's like 150-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, so not a ton. They do a couple international tests, and then a lot here because it's put on by the American Cider Association. But it's the highest level of certification, the highest certification that you can have as a cider professional.
Wow. Well, and I grew up in Washington State, so lots of apples. My uncle actually had an apple orchard, apricots, all this stuff.
Nice.
But it was so cool to eat the different apples. Like, that's gotta be fun to experiment with different ones and try it, because there's so many varieties that probably people don't know about of apples.
There are so many varieties of apples. Unfortunately, we don't really have access to a lot of different apples. We don't have a press. We don't have orchards. We're an urban cidery. So we buy our juice pressed already.
Okay.
So we get it in tankers from a production facility in Washington.
Oh, cool.
So all of our cider is made from the same blend of 5 different apples. But there are a lot of beautiful apples. Like if we had the ability to have crush and press our own, or like bring in a lot of different varieties, that would be incredible. And maybe in the future, but right now it's just not economically viable for us, because it's the difference between paying like $1.20 a gallon in juice to like $4.20 in a gallon. Like those special varieties, or like the single varietals, are just so much more expensive, especially in places like Idaho, where we're like farther away from the orchards. Like there's some cideries in Washington that have the facilities so close to them they can go like pick them up, or they can send their people to go and crush, and you can just kind of bring your prices down a little bit, but it's a little harder for us to do, unfortunately. But apple varieties are incredible.
How did your dad get into cider and like being? I know there was like a big home brewing movement with beer.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that there was like as big of a home brewing movement with cider. So
Yeah.
like, what did he?
For sure.
Try cider somewhere, and he was like, wow, I wonder if I can make this at home, or like, how did he kind of start even?
That's a really good question.
experimenting with
He
it?
started as a beer brewer, so he brewed beer probably since college. And then he started making wine. Then he started growing his own grapes in their backyard to make the wine out of. And then I think it was just kind of like a natural progression of like,
What else?
hey, I wonder what else I can do. Yeah. And so he was like, started making cider, and he's like,
Moonshine in the
he's
bathtub
very
ever, or
much
no?
no, I don't think he's ever distilled. But he's very much a scientist. So like he would make batches and then like have friends over and give them like blind taste tests with like sheets that they had to like fill out about like what they liked, what they didn't like, what they tasted. Like, so he was very scientific about it. So
What was he
really good.
was he a science professor? You said they were both
Yeah,
professors.
he was a professor of kinesiology. And then my mom was an English professor.
Very cool.
Yeah.
In Grand Junction.
Mm-hmm.
What's the school that's there?
Colorado Mesa University.
Okay. Cool. So then how did you and your sister end up coming to the College of Idaho? So I'd imagine you probably had a pretty good price tag to stay at a
No.
Grand Junction. Oh, they didn't
I
have a
literally
deal
would
where,
have. Like, if they were like, hey, it's free, I would have been like, done. I guess I'll just go to Mesa.
I thought that was typically a
No.
perk.
Truly, you would think. It's a state school, so apparently they don't give you anything. I think they gave me like $200 a semester for having 2 parents that were professors there. Like, it was
thanks so much.
It was
Thanks, guys.
insane. Yeah.
And a
Because I was like,
paperclip.
sad about it. I was like, it kind of sucks to like go to the school in your hometown, but like also free college is free college, right? But yeah, no, they like didn't give me anything. So I was like, oh, screw it. I'm not
So
going
then
to do
how did
that
you guys find a small private school in Caldwell,
right?
Idaho?
So, I mean, we had some criteria. So my sister went first, so maybe I just followed her, if we're honest. But I had the same kind of criteria, so it like made sense. So I wanted to play tennis, but I wasn't that good. So, like I didn't want to play, like I couldn't play D2 or 1. And then D2, I think I probably like could have made the team if I like really pushed, but so smaller school that had athletics that I could get onto, maybe get a little scholarship for, wanted to stay in the West. And so that kind of cuts that down to, like your Linfield and Whitman. And I think the same reasons everybody goes to see, like they're all the same, like Whitworth. So all of the schools that are kind of in that grouping in the West. And so we went and looked at all of them, and C of I was like shockingly beautiful when you get in there. You're like, oh, I didn't expect that, because you come in through Farm City, right?
Yeah,
and you're like,
yeah.
oh no.
Like Caldwell, and everyone has like their perception of like what Caldwell is, which has changed a lot.
So much better.
It's insane, actually.
Oh my God.
Like
Like,
coming
when
in
you
from
and
the
I went to-
freeway.
yeah.
Oh my
well,
goodness.
and like when Molly and I went to College of Idaho, like there was everything that's downtown Caldwell now, which is beautiful. Indian Creek Plaza, like they've done a great job of investing in.
They dug
that.
up
It's crazy.
Indian Creek.
Yeah,
The
to open
Indian
it up.
Creek.
Yeah, to open it
when
up.
we were in school. Like I remember going to
Oh, wow.
the like opening of like, hey, we have a creek now. Well, we always had a creek, but we like covered it up because it was icky. Like
Yeah.
insane.
So the Caldwell, like when we were out there, there was nothing
Yeah.
There
You
was
didn't-
no call, like there was no town.
You
like,
didn't go out.
You didn't go.
You
know,
walked to
stayed on-
Albertsons. That was
yeah,
like as far as you went.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
stayed on campus, or like the houses right around
Yeah.
campus, and like that was about it.
was
But
it.
like it is shockingly beautiful campus.
Yeah, and yeah, it is. It's so beautiful. So, and they offered kind of the same scholarships as all the other little liberal arts schools, but the starting price was just a little lower, and got a scholarship to play tennis. So, yeah, that was the decision. But I remember being in Colorado and telling people where I was going to school, and they'd be like, because it was Albertson when I went
Yeah. Okay.
for one semester.
Okay.
So it was probably CFI your whole time, huh? Because
Yeah.
you graduated.
Well, I started in 2009,
Oh, okay.
and
So you did go to Albertson then.
no.
Oh, no,
it was College of
9.
Idaho.
No, I
2000
started in 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
2007. Okay.
Happens
Yeah.
fast,
So
right?
I started the fall of 2009,
Oh,
but then
okay.
I transferred. I graduated in 2015. But if
Oh,
I
okay.
had stayed on, a 4-year track, I would have graduated in 2013.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're a little younger than me. Yeah. So I went to Albertson College in Idaho, and my friends in Colorado were like, "Oh, so you're going to the grocery store college in the potato place?
Oh,
Sounds
wow.
like you're doing so good for yourself."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I promise, it's really
It's a
cool.
good school.
I like it."
Well, I know a lot of the alumni, because College of Idaho is obviously a great institution and a great school and all that stuff. And I know a lot of the alumni, when they did change the name from College of Idaho to Albertson's College, people were not
No.
happy about that. And
Yeah,
and
no,
so it
Joe
switched
Albertson
back,
didn't
but-
even want it.
yeah,
like
why
it was a
why are we
weird.
doing
I don't know
this?
what happened there.
They changed
Wow.
it back, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's good.
that's-
Good call.
And then you graduated with, what was your degree?
Psychology and environmental studies, so super helpful for business.
Yeah.
Didn't take a single business class.
Helpful for business.
But then you talk about firefighting. You did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was a wildland firefighter for 6 years.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's a great thing for college, early 20s. Highly recommend for everybody. After that, it gets too hard on your body, and also your social life. But
Yeah, I bet.
it's great. It's
Yeah.
great for your early 20s. You get
How'd you
all winter
get
off.
how'd you get into that? Like what?
It's a family business. So my parents were both firefighters in Alaska. That's where they met, and then my sister started wildlife firefighting. So it's just it's what you
It's in
did.
the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, honestly, just I think it's great as like a early 20s job. You get winters off. I got to travel a ton. You learn how to work as a team. It's very like almost militaristic. So you get like you understand like chain of command and how to like work as a team and how to work really, really hard. You really learn who you are. You learn grit and determination, and yeah, it's great. And then
With those, you're like a part of a crew, and then you kind of just go wherever you're needed? Is like
it depends. It depends on what you're on. I was on a hand crew, been on engines. My last 2 years, I was a heli repeller. So it just like when you have a helicopter, you go a lot more places because all the incidents want helicopters. And when you're on an engine, especially in like my first year was in Stanley, and we were just this little tiny like pickup truck Type 5 engine. And we stayed kind of in that area. Like we're not going to get called to a lot of the big incidents. So it really depends. But yeah, I got to see a lot of really cool places.
Yeah,
We
that's
called
amazing.
it when I was on the helicopter and they drop us off on like a 2-man fire, which would be like, the size of this couch. You'd like rappel into it, and then we called it heli camping. Just like go in and like dig around the whole thing, and then just be like, okay, cool, we're good now. We'll just like watch it and hang out and eat our
Wow.
little meals, and it's the best.
That's awesome. Any close calls?
For me, no.
Yeah.
No, I had a bear that the helicopter couldn't scare away once. Like they dropped us off and then they were flying away, and then they were like, hey, there's just 2 of us. And they radioed down. And they were like, hey, there's a black bear like above you. We're going to try to like scare it away. So they were like swooping it and like using their siren, and they get back on the thing and they're like, we couldn't scare it away. It's still walking towards you. So sorry. Bye.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, cool. Cool. This is fine.
Look big.
Yeah. We never saw him though. We started the chainsaw, and I think that was enough. Yeah, he didn't like it. But
Yeah. It's always amazing the journey your life takes, right? From college to firefighting and then starting a business.
Yeah.
I mean, was there some specific things you think you learned along the way that really helped you in, starting Meriwether Cider?
In firefighting?
Or just your journey in general, right? From all the different experiences you had.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what I've always said about college is that even though I didn't have like classes that taught me like how to all the business stuff, like I think what C of I taught me was how to learn and like that you can do it, right? Like if you get a task set in front of you, even if you don't know what it is, like you have resources and find the tools that can like help you solve this problem instead of just being like, I don't know how to do that. No one's ever taught me how to do that. It kind of sets you up in a way that allows you to find the answers yourself.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, firefighting definitely gave me a very strong work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were kind of some of the biggest like business lessons that you like learned, mistakes you
Lord.
made in those early years of trying to figure out how to go from, all right, we've got this home brewing thing that's kind of cool. Now we're going to turn it into a business.
Yeah.
And we don't know anything about business.
We don't know anything about business. Yeah. I can't remember anything really big where we were like, oh, that was an absolute accident. But I know that labels, they're still hard. I don't know what it is about labels, but we had the worst luck with labels. I think we lost thousands of dollars in our first couple of years by buying like the wrong kind of labels that were like dissolving in the coolers, and they were like this many weeks out, and we like had the product we needed to like label right now. And so there's just like,
that's a funny one, like an interesting one, because
Yeah,
it's like
you
something
never
that
guess.
you don't ever like really think about.
no, it
I
wasn't.
think that's
It wasn't
one
on my list of like, be careful.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
That
there's
other
so
things were
many
gonna fall
things
apart before that. Yeah,
There's
totally.
so many things, and you're like, oh, labels. That's
Yeah.
way down on the list of things to worry about, but actually quite an important
Yeah.
part of this whole thing.
Sure should be worried about it. Yeah, heads up.
So how did you guys, you mentioned just like small business administration and the local community, like, did you guys figure out the business side pretty quickly, or did it feel like that took a while to like, okay, we understand, like, we're starting to understand how to look at a P&L, and we're starting to understand how to work with these suppliers and,
Yeah.
hire staff and retain people and
I
payroll
feel like
and-
all of that is still stuff I'm still learning. Like
Like it never really ends.
every time I go to
Entrepreneurship,
like
right?
every time I go to like CiderCon, they're like, okay, so your cogs, you know that this and this and this, and I'm like, I do. That's fine. I totally do. I'll go figure that out right now. They change all the time. I don't know. So yeah, I feel like it's always I'm continually learning every day.
which is kind of the fun part of entrepreneurship and like business too, is right. Is
Yeah.
that it's always like problems to solve, things to learn.
You definitely, if you want to start a business, have to love solving problems.
Yeah.
I think that's the main takeaway, because it's like my employees will come to me with like the most random questions. They'll be like, "Hey, so the light bulb in there exploded. What do we do about that?" I'm like, "I don't know. Do I look like an electrician?
I'm not even an adult. What are you talking about?
Why would you think I would have?" But I'm like, "Okay,
Like, I guess that is my problem.
give me a minute. I'll figure out what to do with the exploding light bulb." Like, but like it's just like so funny, the things that like people will ask you, and you're like, I don't know why you think I would know that.
Yeah.
But like, I sure will get on my computer and
Figure it out.
figure it out.
Yeah,
I'll give someone a
100%.
call. I don't know.
It's been interesting to me. I don't know if you feel this way, but like over the years, it's like things that would have happened if they had happened in year 1, 2, or 3 that like now happen, and you're just kind of like, huh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like,
You're like
if
numb
that
to
had-
it?
Yeah. Like not necessarily numb to it, but you're just kind of like your reaction level is like so much calm. Like if that had happened in the second year, it would have been like, oh my God, what do we do?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
we're screwed. Like, and now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
all right, well, guess we'll just like figure that out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this like reaction of like, I remember, gosh, I think this was like maybe last summer, and it's like we had one of our stores like got like flooded with water, and like another like it was just there was like 3 things going on at once, And my business partner and I just kind of like looked at each other, and it was like, he was like, okay, I'll go over here. Like you do this, like you call these people, and I'm like, okay, I'll take care of this. And like, and everything eventually gets all solved and everything. And then like the next day we were like, man, it's crazy that if that had happened like 8 years ago, we would have been just like pants on fire, like running around panicking. And now we're just like, look at each other. We're like, huh, all right, well, got to call, call like one of the disaster, response companies and get them to take care of that. Yeah. And then we'll go call these guys and get them to fix this. And it's just kind of like, all right. And then you go home and you're like,
and you're like, that's cool.
How was your day? And it's like, oh, it's fine.
It's fine.
Good.
Totally.
It's like,
totally.
It's another day in the life.
It does seem like, you have slightly deeper pockets than when you first start, and you have those connections, right? You're like, okay, cool. Like that's my electrician. That's my plumber guy, and also I think you're worried about your brand more when you're a baby, right? Because it's like, what if this shuts down and all these things we planned, or people don't like pass by and they see that we're closed when we're supposed to be open, and they're never going to come back because they don't even know about us. And this was our first chance to have our first impression, And so I find, but like now, like both of our brands are pretty solid, like I'm not worried that if we're closed one day because our water main bursts, that people are going to be like, well, screw that place. I hate that place. Like, no, like they know who I am. They know who we, and so I think that's a big part. And it's actually funny because like I've become way less like tight-fisted about Meriwether, like somebody would be like, oh, I'm going to like go do this thing, or, hey, we should post this or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, totally. Like that's fine, but like, at the beginning, I was like, no, we have to like stick to this. We have to have this. Like we have to, and so, and I realized that it just depends on, because I just launched Lead Hammer Cocktails in September. And I realized that I'm like back to that point of like, no, you guys have to, no, you can't do it that way. Like we have to do this, and we have to have that, and we have to like present it this. Yeah, we have to like present it this way, and like I can't have somebody else writing the content for like, no. Like this is my thing, and I'm gonna like hold it like super tight to my chest. And Meriwether, I feel like, is more like a middle schooler now, where I'm like,
yeah,
that's fine.
You're good. Yeah.
You want to go talk to those people? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, you definitely see that. And like, even to your point, or like, about those like early days, what if ever this is our last, it's like, I'm same with like sales. Like I remember those early, you're like every day you're like checking your, refreshing Square or whatever to see like, oh, okay, like did anybody show up today?
How are we doing?
Yeah. It's like, obviously you still need to pay attention to those things, but it's like, I liken it to like the stock market or something. It's like, if you're going to like check the stock market every 30 minutes to see what it's doing, like you're going to drive yourself crazy.
Yeah.
Right. You kind of just have to pay attention to like long-term trends. And like, okay, if our sales are down over the course of like a month or, a quarter, it's like, okay, what,
start looking at your KPIs.
Yeah, let's dive into this and figure, it's like maybe there's some things to look at here, but it's like, if you just have like one random day, it's like a Tuesday, and you're like, it's kind of a down Tuesday. It's like, well, then the Wednesday is probably going to bounce right back, and you're just going to be like, okay, it was just a random, can't really explain why sales were down for one random day, but like they were, okay.
Yeah.
Whereas like those early days, you're like,
that's
it. Everybody who's going to try us tried us, and they're over it.
No one even loves us anymore.
It's like those early, those growing, not even growing pains, but just those
growing anxieties.
Yeah. You're like, okay, like how, are people going to continue to show up and like us and love us? What was it like opening the cider house? Because like you had mentioned, like that's not like, did you guys see that as like, we're taking a chance here because this isn't necessarily something that is clear, it's not like a tap house or like a, where there's like an established business model here necessarily. And there's proof everywhere around the country that these are successful. It's like, we're kind of one of the first ones to do it. Like, is there going to be enough demand that we're actually going to have to be able to have this physical location that people are going to show up to consistently?
For sure. Yeah, no, it was really scary. And also, none of us had ever been in retail.
Yeah.
So that was another whole thing. We were like, yeah, we can run a bar. That'll be fine. How hard can it be?
Too, right? I mean, you have a good location where you're at, right downtown.
So when we first opened, our first location is on Chinden, out by the fairgrounds. So that was what we had for 2 years before we opened the cider house downtown. So I feel like we were a little better situated when we opened the cider house. We learned a lot of hard lessons from the tap room. But yeah, I mean, it was scary. It was, yeah, we just didn't know what to expect. You know, you can look at the markets and you can look at like the trends and be like, oh, people seem to really be wanting cider, but like not in Idaho, you know, like there's no other places that are selling cider right now in Idaho. So really you could just look at like how popular the breweries were, because at that point there was a brewery opening like once a month. And yeah, we marketed the heck out of our grand opening. I remember just being like panicked, like, I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna like get an ad in the Boise Weekly, and I'm gonna like get radio ads, and I'm gonna do all this stuff. We didn't do a soft opening.
Oh, you just went for
We
it.
didn't. It was just me and my sister behind the bar. We'd never been behind a bar before. Didn't have a dishwasher. Still don't have a dishwasher. And so many people showed up. It was
Hey.
it was
Like maybe I
awesome,
shouldn't
though.
have marketed
was
this so much.
insane. It was so crazy. We had like friends visiting, my parents' friends visiting from Colorado. She's a psychiatrist and he's a judge. And my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, has a PhD in math, and those were our 3 dishwashers the entire night. We were like, we have the highest,
like, what did we
the
sign up
highest
for?
educated dishwashing staff of all time. Like they didn't get to come hang out. They didn't get to do anything. We were like, no, you have to stay at the 3 basin sink and you have to wash dishes literally the entire time till we die. So it was nuts. It was like
All
the
hands on
craziest.
deck.
It was the craziest thing ever.
They're
So
like, thanks a lot for all your marketing,
How
Molly.
fun.
Really appreciate that out of
Yeah.
you.
well, what I failed to remember was that Boise loves new things.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like they will come out for whatever it is, which is
Yeah.
beautiful. It's a
Events
beautiful
and new
thing.
Things, yeah.
But
That's always the thing we like to highlight too. It's just such an amazing community,
Oh.
right? Of like people that come together and support you, and
it's
you know,
amazing.
the local support is awesome.
Truly. I can't imagine. I mean, I've never had a business in another place, but I can't imagine doing it. Because, like, even I've talked to friends that have businesses even outside of Boise, you know, or in, like, Washington. And it's just, it sounds so hard.
Yeah.
It's like you have to, like, oh, well, yeah, we have to, like, tell them that these people don't do this. And I do it. And I'm like, oh, God, no.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, you just have to say, like, hey, this would really help us out. And everyone's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Like, we're in.
Let's do
Done.
it. Let's
We're
go.
in.
Yeah.
And same thing with like during COVID too. It was maybe you had this too. It's just like the amount of love that we got like just like poured on us from the community was so, it was such a silver lining for that whole terrible time where it was just like day after day I would get messages in the inbox just being like, how do we help you? How do we make sure you get through this? Like, what are you doing that I can do? Can I get, and I'd be like, oh, we're doing home deliveries. We're doing gift certificates. And they'd be like, okay, done. We're buying gift certificates. We're getting our home delivery. Like, we don't even, you know, like, so people really like rallied around, and it was this like really unique chance to have people tell you how much they care about you, you know, because like you can kind of say like, yeah, people show up, like people like our events or whatever, but you can't, no one's ever like explicitly being like, we care about you a lot and we really need you to make it.
Yeah.
And so during COVID, that was definitely this really like beautiful moment of just being like, oh, like we matter to this community. People really, their lives would be different if we don't make it through this. And that was like really touching. And I think that that's like just this very stark example of something that happens every day, right?
Yeah.
Like that you can point to, but every day, I mean, we have so many, we have so many people that that just, that are amazing and step up in all the ways. I just put out a call. We make a raspberry rhubarb pie seasonal cider, and it's coming out in June.
Ooh.
And my dad went to the botanical gardens where we usually get the rhubarb, and they were like, oh, yeah, well, we only have like 2 of our 5 plants because we're renovating that part of the garden, and we just don't have it this year. And he was like, oh, no, fine. That's cool. That's cool. So I put out on like Instagram, like, hey, we need rhubarb. Like, if you've got it in your backyard, like, bring it on in. I'll give you like a couple bottles if you bring like this much. It literally took 2 days.
Wow.
And we got all the rhubarb we needed. I had to like put on like, okay, now stop. No, we're good now. That's fine. We're good on rhubarb. But you know, like people really respond and want to be part of a community, which is.
And that's what, Kasey and I are trying to do is highlight that because, as we grow, I mean, our population's going up. We're a lot more corporations are coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, there's a need for that to a degree. But you know, keeping that sense of community and knowing, you know, that these people are here is super important to remember as we grow. you know?
Yeah. And keep Boise nice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Stay.
Tell us a little bit about Leadhammer.
Yeah. So that's my new baby. I just launched it in September. So because the alcohol industry in general is kind of on this like downward trend, which is unfortunate.
Drink more alcohol,
Yeah,
people.
please.
In a responsible way.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's good
To-
socially. Be more social. I wanted to expand our sales pool, right? So we're just selling to this niche of cider, and I was like, what if we could have a couple avenues, right? So a lot of breweries are doing now making like hard seltzers and that sort of thing. So I was like, what can we do that I see as a very big trend right now? And RTDs, ready to drink cocktails, were the one of the higher growing
Categories?
markets. And so I was like, okay, we can do that. We can make great cocktails. I am sure of it. So I called the TTB, which is the Tobacco Trade and something Bureau. And I was like, okay, what? And I'd like started like all the forms of like, you have to get a distilling license, you have to get a blending license, you have to get a warehouseman license. Like it's not easy to make to do
Why would they
anything
make it
with,
easy?
do anything with liquor. And so I was like, I had started it and I was like, oh, I don't know what the answer to this is. I'm going to call it TTB, which like, honestly, number one entrepreneur tip, if you're confused about something with like, just call somebody immediately.
Yeah.
Cause I had to force myself to do that. Cause like, I'm like this, like, oh, I can figure it out. I'll just do it. Like 4 hours later, I'm like, I don't know how to do it. And I call and they're like, it's this. In like 5 minutes. Oh shit. I wasted four hours. Like just call immediately.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my tip. So I called the TTB and I was like, hey, I'm just wondering about blah, blah. And she's like, well, you're a winery. And I was like, yeah, we're a winery. She's like, just use apple spirits, put some cider in there, and then you can just use your wine license. And I was like, excuse me?
So you
That
went
sounds a
through
lot
all of
easier than what
that
I was trying to do.
to not do it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that then. So I didn't even have to get a liquor or a distilling license, which was huge. So they're technically, if you look at our cans, it says wine cocktail. It's mostly just like a formula, like a regulatory thing because it does have spirits in it. They have some cider in them, but really spirits, they are real cocktails. And so my thought on them was I want a RTD that tastes like it actually came out of a shaker. Like I don't want it to taste like, I want it to be like a traditional like cocktail that you can recognize, that you feel like you'd order at a bar. I don't want it to be overly sweet. I don't want it to be any fake flavors. Both Meriwether and Leadhammer, one of my steadfast rules is we never use essences, we never use dyes, we never use artificial or natural flavoring. We always just use the real ingredient. And so we knew that's what we were going to do with Leadhammer. So we did a lot of really difficult research design by going to all the bars we could and having lots of cocktails.
Market
I know.
research.
Like,
I
oh,
know. Somebody's
gotta
got
drink
it.
another
Somebody has to
cocktail
do it,
today.
you know?
Yeah, somebody has to do it.
And so we made cocktails that we're really proud of. They're 12% each. We have the Cutthroat 75, which is the Idaho State fish. Did you know that?
No, I actually didn't know that.
Which is based on a French 75, which is a gin cocktail with lemon and sparkling wine. We obviously made it with sparkling cider. It's one of my favorite cocktails, which is why we made that one. We actually made the gin ourselves. So we took the neutral apple spirits, which just tastes like rubbing alcohol. It's just awful. It's 96%.
Whoa.
Just insane. Yeah. We got an entire 260-gallon tote of it. And it's just
Yeah. Where are we going after this? Let's go.
bananas. You do not want it. I'm going to make you go blind if you drank too much of it. But we made our own gin out of that to like really like dial in the flavors we wanted of like the juniper. And I really wanted it to be very botanical forward. And then our other one is called the Cosmonaut. And that's based on a cosmopolitan martini. So it also has the sparkling, it's got the cider and the apple spirits, and then cranberry, orange, and lime. And so that one's a little more fruit forward. They both have that kind of like alcohol burn because I refuse. I think all cocktails should at least taste like liquor. Like you shouldn't be able to like not taste any liquor. So, yeah, so we've got those. And because it's a wine cocktail instead of just in the RTD space, we're also able to put them in kegs, which you're not allowed to. Like, so like Cutwater can never be in a keg.
Sure.
So that's a really unique opportunity to be able to, like, places that don't have liquor licenses can put something on tap.
Yeah.
Which I thought was going to be like killer. I was like, everybody's going to want this. Everyone's going to freak out. And it's actually been really slow, which I'm like, come on. But
You're
people
not
are
wrong,
very,
you're just early.
yeah. I think, and I found accounts really, they're very protective of their tap lists. You know, they've put them together and they've created them and they've run through like what works and stuff. And so it's really hard to convince people like, hey, you should get rid of one of those.
Right.
Like,
take a flyer on this.
yeah, and like just like put this on. So it's getting there. They're they're coming. The spring resets, we just got both cocktails into all the super craft stores in Albertsons.
Oh wow. Awesome.
So that's really
Congrats.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm
I
really
tried
excited
both at
about
Cider
them.
Fest this year.
Oh yeah, what'd you
Yeah.
think?
They were great. Yeah.
You have to say
Yeah.
that.
No.
You couldn't say that they were not.
They sucked. Don't get yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, they were great. I really the 75 one.
The Cutthroat.
The Cutthroat 75 was. I mean, I'm not a Cosmo guy, but so that one was.
I feel like Sex and the
was
City
good, but it was
really, really
Yeah.
screwed the Cosmo over. They gave it a
was good.
reputation it doesn't deserve.
I'm also like I'm a very spirits forward
Yeah.
cocktail drinker. Like I want all like boozy.
Yeah,
Boozy.
me too.
So anything that's like a little sweeter is typically not what I go for.
Yeah, that's fair.
French
No,
75 was really good. It wasn't like overpoweringly sweet in any way. It was like really like
yeah, we tried.
really-
We
it was
really
good.
tried to match them to if you were to order them at a bar, right? Like, yes, they have sweetness.
Yeah.
The Cutthroat has sugar in it because if you didn't put sugar in it, it would be an absolute travesty, right? It would be
Right.
disgusting. But not so much that you taste it. Like, right? Like balancing those flavors is really what we always try to do. Like, make sure like your sweet is balanced by your acidity, balanced by the all the things are in balance because that's when you've got something that's going to taste a lot better on your palate.
Yeah.
But thank you, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Also something interesting out of that. So you guys are as a cidery, you are regulated as a winery.
Yes.
That's not
Yeah.
categorized
Yeah.
as a
Cider
winery?
is we are a federally bonded winery, and then in the state and city level, we're also a wine. We are under the Idaho Wine Commission.
Okay.
Which
Kind of a cool loophole, huh?
yeah. I mean, I wish it's getting better, and I think that they have added a lot of like addendums to cidery licenses. Like when we applied for our federal permit, we just applied as a winery.
Yeah.
A couple years later, I believe they added like cidery to the wine application license. So it was like, oh, what are you going to be? Are you going to be a wine warehouse? Are you going to be there's like a bunch of them, right? And then like at the end, it's like cidery.
Yeah.
So there's like a little more where they keep adding different channels that make more sense for cider. Like the in Oregon, they're I don't know if they passed it yet, but like it was called the bubble tax.
Yeah.
And so certain levels of carbonation get taxed a lot higher if it reaches over, I think, 2.7 percent CO2, because traditionally the only wines that are going to be that bubbly are going to be like your higher end like champagnes and
Yeah.
so they call it the champagne tax. But for cider, because it's just like base normal ciders, especially in the US, are bubbly. And so we were ending up having to either carbonate less than the public was necessarily wanting to avoid that tax, or paying stupid like champagne tax on something that we were selling in a keg, right?
Yeah.
So there was this very
What's the reasoning for the champagne tax for the carbonation?
money.
Just
Money.
because they can.
Bureaucracy.
Because they can, because it's a
Okay. It's like-
luxury item, right? So
Okay.
they're considering like sparkling wine, like those higher end sparkling wines, to be a luxury item, over just like table wine or whatever it is. So they just
Wow.
it's just a tax.
Gotta
Yeah.
love it.
So they've been working on that. It got raised a little bit with the bubble tax. So that sort of thing. Like, it's just like cider is close to wine,
Yeah.
but it is not wine.
Yeah.
right? And so it's hard. We have our own regulatory things that are unique to cider
Yeah.
that are slowly being worked through, but bureaucracy is pretty slow. So
Yeah.
we
Well-
definitely are stuck in some weird spots.
Yeah. So for the cocktails, you're in Albertsons.
Mm-hmm.
You can get it at your locations at the Meriwether Cider.
Yep.
Right?
The Boise Co-ops, I always shout them out. They are probably the best supporters of local that I know.
Yeah.
They always get all of our new things immediately.
Yeah.
So I always say, go there if you want all the most local things you can get. All of our ciders are there.
Awesome.
And Whole Foods is pretty good. We've got quite a few. I'm not sure if the cocktails have made it in there yet. I've talked to them a bunch, and Amazon kind of makes it a lot slower to get in there. I used to be able to just get whatever I wanted in there,
Yeah.
but the bureaucracy of that has expanded quite a bit. But yeah, you can get them at most of the Albertsons, all of the two marketplaces.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked so much about cider, but we actually haven't talked about how you make cider. Is there any like inside scoops you can give us, or like an overview a little bit of how that's done?
I always say that cider is really easy to make and really hard to make well.
Okay.
Because if you leave a bottle of apple juice on your counter for long enough, it will become cider.
Okay.
Spencer's going to try that tonight.
Yeah, let's do it.
But it's gross. You don't want to. Like that's like the 17-year-old hiding it in their closet sort of vibes.
Yep.
Where it's just like, yeah, it'll get you drunk, but at what cost?
It's like drinking all the stuff your parents don't want you to drink, like pepper vodka or certain
Yeah.
gins are in the back.
Yeah, just disgusting.
I don't know. I drank Steel Reserve back in the day. I mean, can it get much worse than that?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Some
There's a
Brass
lot of
Monkey Steel
off-
Reserves at College of Idaho
Yeah, it's
once or
not
twice.
good. It's not good.
Tilts.
So cider is made very similarly to wine.
Yep.
So instead of grape juice, it's apple juice.
Okay.
Generally speaking, there are two kind of camps of cider in my mind, and it's kind of like I look at them as like the beer cider and the wine cider, and by that I mean wine ciders are these orchard based 750 ml bottles, maybe still using all of those different kinds of cider apples, like different varieties of apples, and they drink much more like wine. They're a little higher ABVs. And then there's on the other end, there's the beer ciders, and that's what we are. So that's, selling in kegs, selling in smaller formats like cans, flavoring them with different fruits and botanicals. I don't remember where I was going with this. Oh yeah. So, so it's all a fermentation of juices, right?
Yeah.
And so if you are one of those more orchard based, more wine-esque ciders, potentially you will do the same thing as wine. So wine will harvest in the fall. They'll crush and press. They'll have their juice. They'll ferment, and then they'll put it in either kegs wood kegs to age, or they'll put it in bottles to age, and then they're done. They're done for the year, right? What you make in the fall is what you've got the rest of the year.
Yeah.
On the other end of these more beer ciders, we don't age. We have a barrel aging program, but that's just for flavor more than anything. So we do whiskey barrels. But generally speaking, our ciders we can make in 3 weeks. We can have 5,500 gallons ready to create whatever we want. We've always got that. We at this point, I think this year we have made more than we ever have. So we're every month we go through about 5,500 gallon tanker. And we're just fermenting in steel fermentation tanks. So we buy that 5,500 gallons, which is just a blend of juices. We ferment it down to 0% sugars.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, we let it settle because there's a lot of what's called lees, which is the particulates inside. So we let that settle out, and then we put it through our filter to make it nice and clean. And then we will bring it into, let's say we're making a 1,200 gallon batch. We'll bring 1,200 gallons into one of our brights, and that's where we'll add any additives that we want to put into it. So if we're making the semi-dry, all we'll do is add just a little bit of apple concentrate to bring that sweetness just up enough to balance out that real acidity, because our juice has basically sugar and acid in it. when you ferment, you're taking all that sugar away. So all you've got is acid. So it's almost like lemon juicy sour. So we'll just add enough just to bring it up, balance that out. So it doesn't have a lot of apple flavor, but it's really crisp, clean, easy drinking, almost like a Prosecco.
Yeah.
Or if we're making, the black currant, we'll add that black currant juice into it, and then blends it up. And then from there, we carbonate. We do forced carbonation, which is it's a carbonation stone. It's about this long, and it's just this round tube. It's made out of some sort of porous rock that you shoot CO2 into, and it puts out all these bubbles into that closed container.
Yeah.
And that's how you force the CO2 to stay in solution.
That's cool.
And
What
then
about nitrogen? Have you ever tried that?
we do one cider a year on nitro, and that's our strawberries and cream for Valentine's Day.
Wow. Okay.
We used to do a couple. We should do more, honestly. It's kind of a pain in
Pain in the butt?
but yeah. Especially
You can
since
say
we're
it.
making so much cider right now. I think my
Yeah.
production team would be like, no, thank you.
nah.
Maybe not right now. But it is a possibility, and we've made some really awesome ones
Yeah.
before. But yeah, so that's generally
Yeah.
the way it goes. It's pretty simple. You got to keep everything very, very clean. We do use sulfites, but we use the very least amount of sulfites. So sulfites are basically killing all of the natural yeasts, wild yeasts that come inside the juice, so that when we add our own inoculated yeasts, those are the ones that are going to take over, and so your fermentation path is much cleaner and much more directed,
Yeah.
because wild yeast can go all over the place, which sometimes, that's not necessarily in the cider world considered a fault. Spanish ciders are all wild yeast.
Yeah.
So they just put them in these giant juice in these giant barrels and are like,
Yeah.
that's it, we're done. So you're going to get a little more of like those, some sulfur overtones. You're going to get some of like the vinegar, like
Yeah.
it's going to become a little acidified. And that's just not our brand. So we're very particular about keeping it super, super clean.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the reason I brought it up was like, for me, I drink cider and I've had yours. It's great. Is like in the mainstream sense of like pairing it with food and different things, like,
It's
just
one
like
of the-
wine or anything else. So is there like some go-tos that you have for your ciders that you pair with certain things you
I
love?
think cider
Don't say pork chops.
goes so well with everything.
love
And
it.
I swear it's changing a little bit, but every time we would be contacted by like a restaurant or like a caterer that's like, hey, we want to do a food pairing and we want to like add a cider in, we were always with the dessert. And I was like, no, you're totally fair. It's good with dessert. It's also good with everything else.
Yeah.
So I think so the ginger root, really good with any sort of like curries. Like if you're eating it with like Indian food or Thai or even like Chinese food, like all of those are just going to like match really well, because those are really the curries, especially like cream-based curries, are going to be they're going to have that like heavier cream. They're going to have a little bit of that spice, and that ginger root, it's a semi-dry, so it's not going to give any sweetness, but it is going to like cut that spice. It's going to cut that cream so that it like refreshes your palate and you're
Yeah.
ready for another sip. Same with the foothills. Anything semi-dry is going to be really good with like really heavy meats, like your brisket or like a stew or anything like that, because again, it's like super crisp, light. It's going to like refresh your palate, so you're not just like weighed down by what you're eating.
Yeah.
And then really any cider, because especially our ciders, because they're very high in acid, are going to go really well with any like kind of spring salads. Because that brightness of like any sort of like that vinaigrette dressing or whatever is going to like be a really nice like match to
Yeah.
the acidities.
Oh, that's opened the world to also. I know. I was sitting here. I'm like, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other thing is like I heard a lot of people say, it's fruit, right? So it's high in sugar, but with the fermentation, it cuts a lot of the sugar down. So the content.
My favorite thing to tell people when they say, "Oh, cider's too sweet,"
Yeah.
is that if you like beer has, if you ferment cider juice all the way down to 0, you can ferment apple juice down to 0% sugar,
Yeah.
because apples only contain fructose, and yeast loves fructose. It will eat all the fructose it can get.
Yeah.
Malts and the things that they add to beer as fermentables have sugars that are not fermentable. So you can never get a beer down to 0% sugar. You can get a cider down to 0% sugar. So it's really what you do post-fermentation that is going to add the sugars back in. Absolutely. Ciders can be really sweet. They can also be really dry. We don't do a fully dry one because we're just not using the right apples for it. So there's two different kinds of apples. There's cider apples and there's dessert apples, or culinary apples. And those are the ones that you can get in the grocery store. So like your Fuji's and your Jonah Golds and your Granny Smiths. And those ones, they have two main components, and that is acid and sugar. Cider apples, on the other hand, have tannins. So just like wine. So tannins are like what a big red wine would have. Is that like drying of your mouth? The best description of tannin I've ever heard is it's water that doesn't want to be wet.
Yeah.
And so when you add apples that have a high tannin content, then when you ferment all the sugar, you still are left with two components. You're left with some acids and you're left with tannins, and so you can kind of keep it on that drier side. It's going to be more similar to wine.
Yeah.
So in that sense, like if you're having this like beautiful heritage cider apple dry cider, it's going to be drier than any beer you've ever had.
Yeah. That's cool. I mean, it's about education because I love cider and it's good. I just didn't know it had all those different uses.
It's superfood.
Yeah.
It's a superfood. Yeah, it's good.
Cider superfood.
Yeah, you heard it here
Flip
first.
it.
You're here first. Let's go.
Well, that's awesome, Molly. Thanks for sharing all of that with us. What is next for Meriwether? What are the next 10 years bring us of Meriwether
That's a really
cider?
good question. I don't know. Everyone's always like, when are you opening your next spot? And I'm like, well, it gets really sketchy with no.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, because I know breweries. We had Jake on, and obviously we talked about how like there's the 2-location rule in Idaho. Is it the same for you guys? Okay.
And also, Jake is just much more motivated than I am. I don't really I can't imagine doing what you do. Like opening. Like I'm still like traumatized by opening the cider house 8 years ago.
It's kind of like this, but it gets easier with time. It gets easier over time. Trust me. We're about to open our 7th, and
that's
I'm like,
insane.
I
can't even.
Well, and like, I'm like, it opens when it opens.
But then like the staff and Lord.
Never even get into
I have 7 staff. That's all I can handle.
You got about 100.
I can't even imagine. Yeah, I don't know. I think just I don't want to be out of state. People ask us that a lot. When are you going to go to Oregon or when are you going to go to Washington? And I just don't see any point to it. We opened in Idaho for a reason, and that is because we want to serve the community that we're in. We want to enrich this community. I don't care about Oregon. They've got their own cider. Why would they drink mine anyway? So we're staying in Idaho. And I don't know. I feel like I'm like in a really good spot right now. Like I fear stagnation probably more than anything. So like when I'm like, what am I doing? Like we got to do something. But I started Idaho Cider Fest. This will be our 4th year in October. So I think more just like educational events, more events that bring people that aren't necessarily looking for haven't looked for cider before. I think that's like a big part of what I want Meriwether to do. I want it to be that educational like door to people. And that's why we started the cider house. That's why we bring outside ciders in, because I want people to be able to experience not only the types of ciders we make, but types of ciders other people make. And so, yeah, just being stewards of the cider industry, which we certainly are now, but I think that that's always an ever-growing kind of changing idea that I would really like to continue to do. Yeah.
I mean, is there any flavors on the horizon? Any sneak peeks we should know about? New stuff coming up?
So we come out with a new seasonal once a month.
Okay.
So the raspberry rhubarb pie will be June. We're in May.
Yep.
May. This was Plum Dandy was this month. July will be cherry time bomb. August will be basil lemonade. September will be hibiscus orange.
Wish I had your memory.
Are these consistent ones that like reoccur every year? How much innovation are you guys doing year to year of like new ones?
We change our seasonals when we need to. So like when we'll see a seasonal, we'll be like, man, that just didn't work or whatever. We'll change them. This year, I think it's pretty much the same seasonals as we made last year. But we do make like small stuff too. So, my dad will come in. He's not our head cider maker anymore, but he'll come in and do like, we call him the kick the keg. So we'll make like 5 gallons of something that is completely random. When it's gone forever. He just did one that's called, the London Fog. So it was like based on like the London Fog, drink. Yeah. So it had like Earl Grey and vanilla and, lavender in it. It was really good.
That's a fun idea.
And we're coming out with our Idaho Shakespeare Fest. So every year since 2018, we've been a sponsor of the Idaho Shakespeare Fest. And part of that sponsorship is we make a special cider for them every year. And we try to name it based on one of the Shakespeare plays they're putting on. So this year we're making one. We're actually just waiting for labels. It's made. It's bottled. We just need labels. Again, 10 years later, we're still figuring out labels. But it's called Outdammed Spot from Macbeth. And so that's like the scene where Lady Macbeth is sleepwalking and she's washing her hands because she thinks she has blood on them because of her conscience. Thank you. I was like, conscience. Her conscience because she convinced Macbeth to murder. And so I wanted to make a blood cider. So we did a cranberry, cherry, blueberry, black currant cider. It's like blood red. The label is going to be red. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's coming out in a couple weeks.
Awesome.
As soon as we get labels. I don't know. Year.
And you can get it at the Idaho Shakespeare Festival if
you can only get it at our spots.
Okay.
Because
but you can get some and bring it into the Idaho Shakespeare Festival.
Yes. That's the beauty of Shakespeare. You can bring all the alcohol you want. Yeah. We only sell it on our spots because we donate 20% of the proceeds of it to the Shakespeare Fest. Cool. And if we sell it wholesale to anybody, then those proceeds are going to be a lot less. Yeah. So we just choose to do it in in our locations. But that's awesome. Yeah, keep an eye out for it. It's really good. It's also very cool looking.
Well, where can people learn more about Meriwether? Find you guys.
Come on in.
Guys. Yeah, come to the tap room on 9th and Bannock.
Yeah, 9th and Bannock, or the cider house on 9th and Bannock, or our tap room at 52nd and Chinden. Okay. And also come to 10 at the Pen. 10 at the Pen is going to be so freaking fun.
And Cider Fest.
And Cider Fest on October 3rd.
In October, right on.
Love it.
Yeah, both of them are going to be really fun. I have not started planning Cider Fest like I probably should because of 10 at the Pen, but it's fine.
Hey,
it's gonna be fine.
That's a problem for later.
That's a future me problem for sure.
That's a future me problem. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thanks for coming, Molly. Appreciate
thanks for having me. This was fun.
Molly, thanks for sharing everything about cider. We're educated and hungry and thirsty.
Yeah. Go grab a cider. We've got slushies right now that are pretty good.
Heck yeah. Thanks, Molly. Are we doing segments or are we dropping segments?
What do you want to do?
I don't care.
It's your call.
You're the segment guy.
Nope. Your call.
Did the email include anything about segments?
If it did, I don't remember.
Okay. I'm good either way, Spence. You're the one that introduces them typically. If you want to do them, or we can cut it.
Yeah, we can cut it.
All right.
Yeah.
Then that's it.
That's it.
Sweet.
We're done.
Thanks for joining another fun, wide-ranging episode of Rooted in Idaho. Thanks, Molly.